You've been avoiding mirrors lately, not because you look different, but because when you catch your reflection, you don't recognize the person staring back. They have your face, your features, but something's missing behind the eyes. It feels like you're watching yourself from the outside, moving through motions that used to be automatic, but now require conscious effort. Brushing your teeth, making coffee, replying to messages. And the strangest part? You can't pinpoint when it started. It wasn't sudden. It was gradual. Like someone slowly turned the volume down on your life until one day you realized you've been moving through silence. And now you're here, watching this, searching for an explanation for something you can't even name. That alone should tell you something, because this message doesn't find people who are fine. It finds people who are being rearranged, and you're right in the middle of it. Let me tell you what's actually happening. You're experiencing divine disorientation, and I know that sounds like spiritual fluff, but stay with me because this might be the most practical thing I tell you. Your internal compass, the one that's guided you your entire life, is spinning wildly. Every direction feels wrong. North doesn't feel like north anymore. The goals that once pulled you forward now feel empty. The relationships that once grounded you now feel heavy. The version of yourself you spent years building suddenly feels like a costume that doesn't fit. And you're terrified, because when a compass spins without settling, it feels like being lost. But here's what you don't understand yet. Your compass isn't broken. It's recalibrating, because the magnetic field around you changed. And it changed because you changed. And until your compass adjusts to your new frequency, to who you're becoming instead of who you've been, everything is going to feel disorienting. But that disorientation isn't the problem. It's the confirmation. Confirmation that you've outgrown the coordinates you've been using to navigate your life. Here's what nobody tells you about growth. It doesn't feel like progress. It feels like losing your mind. Because real transformation doesn't add to who you are. It dismantles who you've been. And that dismantling, that's exactly what you're experiencing right now. The life you built, the identity you cultivated, the dreams you chased. They were all constructed on who you thought you should be, what your parents wanted, what your friends expected, what society validated, and for a while that foundation held. You built an entire life on it, but foundations crack when the ground beneath them shifts, and your ground has been shifting quietly for months, maybe years, and now the cracks are too obvious to ignore. The job that once gave you purpose feels like a cage. The friendships that once energized you feel like obligations. The goals you once chased feel like someone else's finish line, and you're standing in the rubble wondering, did I lose myself? Or am I finally finding myself for the first time? Let me give you the metaphor that changes everything. Imagine you've been using the same compass your entire life. Your parents handed it to you. They said, north is success, south is stability, east is acceptance, west is safety. And you trusted it. You followed it. You built your entire route around where it pointed. But what you didn't know was this. That compass was calibrated for their magnetic field, not yours. It was designed to navigate their fears, their limits, their version of safety. And for years, it worked. It got you places. It kept you moving. But then something changed. You started generating your own magnetic field, your own frequency, your own pull. And the stronger your field became, the more that old compass started malfunctioning. At first, it was subtle. Hesitation, doubt, quiet discomfort. But now it's spinning. Because it can't reconcile two opposing forces, the direction it was programmed to follow, and the direction you're actually meant to go. And that spinning, that collapse of certainty, that's not failure. That's recalibration. Your compass isn't trying to find their north anymore. It's trying to find yours. And until it stops resisting the old programming and surrenders to the new pull, you're going to feel lost. But you're not lost. You're just between destinations. Now here's where most people get stuck. They feel this disorientation and panic. They try to force the old compass to work. They go back to goals that no longer fit, relationships that drain them, versions of themselves they've already outgrown. They do everything they can to feel oriented again. But you can't force a compass to point somewhere it's not designed to go. And the more you try, the more exhausting it becomes, until you start believing something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. Something is right with you. For the first time, you're refusing directions that were never yours. For the first time, your soul is louder than conditioning. For the first time, you're listening to the pull instead of the programming. And that pull, that deep knowing that the life you've been living isn't the life you're meant for, that's what's causing the spin. That's what's making everything feel unstable. Because certainty was built on external validation, and you're transitioning into a version of yourself that doesn't need permission to exist. Let me tell you something you haven't noticed yet. You've been withdrawing, not socially, but energetically. You're pulling back from conversations that used to excite you, from people who used to matter, from routines that used to fill your time. And it's not depression, it's discernment. Your system is running an audit. It's scanning every person, every commitment, every dream you've been carrying, and asking one question: is this mine or is this borrowed? And anything that's borrowed, anything adopted to fit in, to be accepted, to avoid disappointing someone, your system is rejecting it. Not because those things are bad, but because they're not yours. And you can't build a real life on borrowed blueprints. You can only build performances, and performances are exhausting. So your soul, in its quiet wisdom, shut the show down. It cleared the stage. It said, enough. We're not doing this anymore. And now you're standing in the silence wondering who you are without the performance. That's not confusion. That's the most important question of your life. Here's what people don't tell you about this phase. It's temporary, but it's necessary. You can't skip it. You can't rush it. You can't positive think your way through it. This is the void, the in-between, where the old you is dissolving and the new you hasn't fully formed yet. And the void is terrifying because there's nothing to hold on to. No clear direction, no predictable outcome, no guarantee the other side is better than what you left behind. But here's what the void does. It reveals what's real. When the noise fades, when the distractions stop, when external validation disappears, what remains? That's you. Not the curated version, not the people-pleasing version, not the approval-seeking version. The real one, the one you've been too busy to meet. And meeting that version for the first time feels like meeting a stranger, because you've been living outside yourself for so long that being inside yourself feels unfamiliar. But unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong, it just means new. And new always feels uncomfortable before it feels like home. Now let me tell you why this message found you right now. You're not randomly drifting through this phase, you're being guided through it. The universe doesn't disorient people for no reason. It disorients people who are being redirected. People heading toward lives that looked good but felt empty. People building success that would have left them hollow. People walking paths that would have worked, but slowly killed them inside. That was you. You were headed somewhere that wasn't meant for you. And the universe, in its ruthless compassion, made that path feel so wrong that you had no choice but to stop walking it. That confusion you feel? That's clarity trying to break through conditioning. That emptiness where excitement used to be? That's space being made for something real. And this uncomfortable, directionless, nothing feels right phase? This is where you become someone who can hold what's coming. Because what's coming doesn't fit who you were. It only fits who you're becoming. Here's what you need to do right now. Stop trying to figure everything out. Stop asking what's wrong with you. Stop comparing where you are to where you think you should be. And for the love of everything, stop trying to go back to who you were. That version is gone, and they needed to be. They were leading you somewhere safe, small, acceptable. But you're not meant for safe anymore. You're not meant for small. You're not meant to be digestible to people who never truly saw you anyway. You're meant for something aligned, something real, something that requires the version of you forming right now, inside this disorientation. So let the compass spin, let it recalibrate, let it find true north without your interference. And while it's spinning, do this. Notice what you're naturally pulling away from. Those were never yours. Notice what you're naturally drawn toward. Even if it makes no sense yet, that's your real compass activating. Notice the moments of stillness that don't feel empty. They feel full. That's you recognizing yourself. And notice this. Even in confusion, even in uncertainty, you're still here, still breathing, still searching. That's not weakness. That's strength. The strength to exist without a map, without a plan, without certainty. And that strength is what will carry you into the next version of your life. If this is hitting you, if you're in this spinning compass, nothing makes sense phase, drop 3 words in the comments. I'm being redirected. That's it. Because naming where you are removes fear. You're not lost. You're not broken. You're being redirected. And if you know someone walking through this same fog, someone who thinks they're losing themselves when they're actually finding themselves, send this to them. Ask them to write it too. I'm being redirected. Because sometimes we need to hear that getting lost is part of getting found. Subscribe to stay connected to this space. And if Super Thanks feels aligned, it helps these messages reach more people who need them. But whether you support or not, the fact that you're here, choosing yourself, that's what this is really about. Thank you. I'm proud of you. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. The life you're leaving behind wasn't bad. It was just incomplete. It was the rough draft, the rehearsal version, the life that had to exist so this one could emerge. And this version, the one forming inside disorientation, the one that doesn't know what they want yet, but knows what they don't want anymore, this version wins, not because they have answers, but because they stopped accepting directions from people who were never going where they're meant to go. So when you look in the mirror tomorrow and that stranger looks back, don't turn away. That's not a stranger. That's you, meeting yourself without the costume, without the performance, without the borrowed compass. And I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's confusing. I know you want clarity and certainty and a clear path forward. But what if the lostness is the path? What if disorientation is exactly where you're supposed to be? What if the spinning compass isn't the problem, but the answer? Because when it finally settles, when it locks onto your north, you'll look back at this moment and realize the confusion wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Every uncomfortable pause, every directionless season, every nothing feels right moment was building the version of you strong enough to walk toward what's real. Your compass is recalibrating. Let it. The direction it finds will be worth every second you spent not knowing where you were going.